Hey, brother. This season is actually perfect for OSO sweep stuff. Um, Please keep this between just a handful of commanders that you trust the most, and especially ones that are loyal to United. This is definitely not something that we want other guilds to get their hands on, and I don't want it going back into Conrear because there's only a handful of guilds in Conrear that know this system, and I enjoy winning over there. We're actually getting smashed in Conrear right now, but the team that we're up against is one of the OSO sweep OGs, and they just have more firepower than us. The team that we're up against is number 5, but they play like the fucking number 20th team in Conrear. So if you guys will actually give me the reins for a round, if you don't like the way I run it, just strip my rights. But I think I could actually mutilate this map for you guys. So the OSO sweep, there's the way you guys are doing it, and it's kind of the intuitive way to do it is linear, right? And that's exactly what we did last round. We came straight out of the center. Red owned everything. We had basically the same amount of tiles around our HQ that we have currently. Just come straight out of the center, or straight out of HQ, hit the center, and then from there just kind of blobbed out. It looked something like this. I don't remember if we caught that. I know we got down here though, and then kind of fanned out over here, right? So just hit the center and blob out. And you see that a lot in the opening too. So opening race would look like this, boom, and then kind of chase around the center and grab the center, and whatever's left over, if there's a weak guild over here in B sector, we'll just clean all that up. That's usually how opening goes. OSO sweep is not linear. It's a clock, essentially. The movement is like a clock. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise, doesn't really matter. But once you start setting it up, it's easier to do if you set it up in opening, and I'm going to show you some opening strategies as well. But you can set it up mid-season. You just got to be a little bit more intentional about your timers. There's a few keywords that we use in Conrear that I haven't heard here, which I don't know if you guys don't know them or if it's just not a strategy that you use. But we've got load hold, STC, walk, race. Obviously you know what race is. And pinch is the last word. Pinch creates pinch points, and you guys, I think, kind of use that concept where you're like, if we hit this tile, it's gonna lock them out of this sector or whatever. Kind of the same concept, but we set up pinch points pretty intentionally. Like, just because the tile is open doesn't mean we hit it right away, and if anything, we'll actually work our way around it in order to create a pinch point later on. Load and hold either means stop one short. Don't stop one short, because someone will flip it. Stop 10 short, of the full closing amount. So, if A1 needs 350 hits to close it, we would stop at 340 and then walk it. Someone would walk it to 349, one person. And so the way the GPG orders go, we'll go load and hold A1. Once we hit 340, commander throws a stop, and then call out walk it. Someone call it Joe Schmo. Guildmate says I'll walk it, dibs. And so everyone else moves on to the next tile. Joe Schmo is the only person hitting A1, and he closes those last 9 fights without flipping the tile, but he closes those last nine fights, so there's only one hit left to take the tile. That's load and hold, but depending on how aggressive Arvahol is with blowing camps. We actually hold below the flipping uh, flipping counter. So A3Z, A2T, anything like that. Um, let's look at what they. I guess it's hard to tell. We need an open tile to actually get the. That's the only one that's open. There's 286 fights to take that province, but if we go over 210, the owner, the FOE crew can blow a camp, so they could actually cut this camp, and it would force the tile to close at 210 actions. So back to the load and hold idea. It depends on how aggressive you guys are, and from what I've seen, no one is blowing camps here. Like all of our logs show taking the tile. They're not blowing camps. So load and hold can either be stop at 285, right? One short, or stop at 210, below 210. So we would actually throw the stop at 200 and then walk it to 209. And that still leaves 70 fights for us to hit to close the tile, but it prevents them from forcing us to take ownership if they did decide to blow the camp. Does that make sense so far? You guys aren't using that terminology, so I'm not sure if you know it and you just don't use it, or if it's a new concept here. But that's how we use load and hold, and this is safer. But it also requires you to make 70 hits to finish closing that tile later on when the timer is right to close it. And in my case, like, my baby city is kind of hurting on attrition right now. I'm actually more out of troops than attrition, but I'm not able to fight a whole lot more. I would not be able to do 70 fights by myself to close that tile. But I would be able to do one to close that tile if it was walked to 285. Does that make sense? So it depends on the blowing camp thing. STC is just straight to close, and we just abbreviate that. But there's a difference between race and STC for us. STC, like this, the currently marked tile, is not a race. There's no other team that's contesting that, and we're not in danger of losing support off of either of the two tiles that are giving us the ability to attack it. So we're not racing another team here, and we're not racing to get off of this tile. It's not a race. But it would be a straight to close, right? Just take that tile all the way, kill it. Take a step back, load and hold. You can just load and hold at 285 all the time, or 300, or whatever the stop one short of the closing number is. That is an option, but if your opponent decides to blow that camp, and we get devious about it in Conrear, we'll actually get two people online together and do a countdown based on this timer, and two people blow two camps together. So we can actually, on a three camp tile, we can actually kill two out of those three in the same whack. Killing one is going to force the other team to take possession, but there's a possibility they're going to keep the camps that you built. So if we get two people online together that can coordinate and then blow both camps at the same time, they're still going to get the tile, but now they have to spend more resources to rebuild the camps that we destroyed. So 285, you can load and hold one short, but it kind of sucks spending that many fights just to have your enemy blow at least one, but possibly two camps as well if they're coordinated. So this 200 mark is safe. On the big map, you need to start at 200, or need to stop at 200, so we usually slow it down at 190, 180, 190, and then have someone walk it. On the small map, the kill switch is at 210, so we usually stop it at 200 and then walk it to 209, if that makes sense. This is safer. There's no way they can blow camps all they want, but it's just gonna help us. Like, it's not gonna force us to take possession of the tile. It's just gonna shorten the amount of fights that we need to do to finish it. So this is the safe metric. This is a gamble, and it depends on how aggressive your enemy is with blowing camps. Pinch, we'll come back to that, and then forgot my other word in here. Pinch points, we are going to come back to that. Timer advantage is the big thing, and it looks like you got, walk was the other one. Load, hold, and walk, but we've already explained walk. Timer advantage is the big thing, and it looks like you guys don't really manipulate that a whole lot in Arvahol. I don't know if that's like a cultural thing where people get offended if you do that, or if it's just not a strategy that you guys are really familiar with. But if you are open to that idea, the Oso sweep that's what it's designed to do, and it's absolutely brutal to overcome for the opponent. So if you guys are down to let me run around, I would love to put us in that number one spot. They're ahead, but not by that much, honestly. I could overtake them in about 2 rounds if we got the fighters to back it up. Just on manipulating timers. If we have bodies to hit, we can take so much power from those guys that even though they might have stronger fighters or more fighters, they won't have anything to do in the map. So let's look at how the Oso sweep is set up though. So from opening, everyone wants to hit the center and blob out, right? So we're going to use white and yellow this round. Let's say yellow is going for the center, right? They want to hit the center, and then they're going to start blobbing out. It looks like we're a lot faster than yellow, so let's just assume that us and yellow are we're the number 1 team, yellow's the number 2 team. Let's take red out of the map, hypothetically, just for this season. I'm actually gonna zoom out a little bit just so we can see the whole map. Let's say it's just us versus yellow for the number 1 and 2, right? Yellow wants to go for that, but we're faster. We're the number 1 team, hypothetically. We're faster, so we could actually beat them to that tile potentially. Even though we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to hit it, and they only have 1, 2, 3, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, they have 1, 2, 3. Let's say we're so much faster than them that we could just absolutely blitz that, right? From opening though, never take X1 or the bulk of the center tiles on the small map. Never take X1 in opening on the big map. From here, this would actually be our move, and even if we could race them to this tile, don't, and I'll explain why. But even if we were fast enough to beat them to that tile, don't. Start racing more of these tiles around that, right? And then I think this is an HQ down here. It might be the tile below it, but then we're going to cut straight down and create a pinch point where it's actually a shorter distance to travel to end on top of someone's headquarters versus trying to cut them off in the 5 ring. You know what I mean? That's 1, 2, 3 moves to cut them off in the 5 ring. It's only 1, 2 to use someone else's headquarters as a pinch point. So this would be a pinch point down here. Make sense? And from here, the Oso sweep is set up like this. match them in B, because once they get cut off down here, assuming this is the number 2 team, once we cut them off down here, they're gonna get as many fights over here as they can, but then they're gonna start working this way. So we'll cut them off over here as well, but this is a little different. It's 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. This tile right here would be load and hold, okay? And we could actually do the same thing in this B sector, hypothetically. It depends on which way they're moving. You know, if they're starting to push this way, but we've already pinched this off, let them clean all this up. It doesn't matter. Don't even race it. It doesn't matter. Don't even worry about it. This can all be yellow. It doesn't matter, okay? If they're moving that way, let them, and we'll set up. This would be white, this would be white, this would be white, and we'll set up a hold right here that is filled, partially filled, but we don't close it. I'll come back to the purpose of that. So from here, map looks like this. Pinch point, so their yellow is kind of blocked in here. Sorry, I keep doing that. I didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to change color, not delete the drawing node. Pinch point, okay? Motherfucker, why do you... my phone is annoying sometimes. Sorry, bro. Alright, so this is what the map looks like, okay? Yellow has all of this. Yellow is potentially going to get some of this as well. But we'll hold a tile up here somewhere that they can't reach. It doesn't matter where it is. That one we wouldn't be able to block in. We could actually close this one though, as well as this one, and then hold the one behind it. As long as you hold something in that sector, that's all that really matters. And from here we set up a clockwise rotation, okay? And completely ignore second ring. We won't hit it for a very long time. There's no reason to, because yellow is pinched off at 2 points in the maps. They're kind of confined to B and C sector. So there's no reason to hit those 2 ring tiles. As we go through the 4th ring though, or as we go through the 3rd ring, we'll close off 5th ring tiles periodically. And the strategy there is actually pretty fucking devious. Take a mental note of this. I am going to clear the sketches. We've barricaded yellow into a quadrant and mostly just cut straight through the center, but we didn't blob out in the center, and we're actually going to intentionally avoid as much of the center as possible, and even let them, like, if they hit this, we're up to here, and they start loading on this, don't race it. Don't race it. Don't even worry about it. Just let them have it. The more they take in the center, actually, the better. The reason we're taking the center is just to cut them off from the rest of the map, but let them take as much of the center as they can from there. As long as they're quarantined, we have complete control. So I am going to clear my drawings right now and show you this 4th ring movement. It's devious, but it's super effective, okay? So as we're moving clockwise like that, this new system is a little different just because there's fewer guilds on the map. The concept is the same, it's just a little more spread out. In the older system where you had 8 maps or 8 guilds on the small map, it was a lot easier to establish these little timers. But as we're moving clockwise, right, we cut through the center, we avoid their yellow is trying to race this, and we avoid that, right? Even if we're faster, let them take it and dodge it. And this right here is already setting up kind of a rotational move, right? So once you hit this pinch point, we're going to take this first, but then this second. So don't take this immediately after. Looks like this. Straight down, block screen, right? And the next tile is not here, it's actually here. Okay? We're going to take that. We're going to take this and then load, take this. Sorry, not that one. Take this, but load and hold this. So we'll, and you don't have to do it immediately at opening because you need to gain momentum everywhere else, you know. But after 1, 2, 3, and you can actually hold this middle one as well, for that matter, on this, since there's only 4 guilds. If with more guilds you need to be a little bit more aggressive, but take this, right, load and hold here. I think some of these seasons will have more guilds on the map. I don't really understand these new changes completely, but assuming we have more guilds, you would take both these 4th ring and then load and hold over here. But on the 4 guild setup, we would hold here, take this. I'll explain why this is important. So it's take, and then we're going to keep moving. The next guild location is up here, and it's the same pattern. So let's slide up there. Take. Right, take, hold, continue taking, okay? And remember, we haven't touched anything in the 2nd ring yet. We usually wait. It depends on the map and your opponent. Against a stronger opponent, you need to be a little bit more surgical with the amount of real estate that you can take. Like red obviously has the ability to consume the entire map each round, so they have the firepower to sustain that. If we were a smaller team against red, probably isolate this pattern to 1 or 2 sectors that we know for a fact that we can control, but you can scale it up from there. So we've been very intentional about avoiding the 2nd ring, right? Let's zoom out though and look at what that creates in the long run. So at the beginning, we've barricaded yellow into a third of the map, right, which means we can control the rest of the map, and depending on how active these other guilds are, that's where we'd create pinch points as we pass through other headquarters. That this becomes a pinch point. So the next round, when it opens, yellow is, assuming they have dumb commanders, which it looks like they do, yellow is going to chase down our tiles in the order that they open, right? So we've dodged this center sector, right? Yellow controls those. So yellow is going to start trying to siphon back down the path that we took, right? The key thing here though is that we've created holds on the 4th ring, so as that yellow takes this support and moves on to the next, we have support from this tile and can kill. We have support on this 4th ring tile from 2 different locations. So once yellow takes this, we still have support on the 4th ring from the tile beside it, and we close that 4th ring tile behind them. So as yellow is moving, trying to chase down our trajectory, we're closing tiles behind them with a 5-minute timer advantage, right? So the next round, when the next round opens, we can clean up all their stuff easily. That's part of the equation, right? The other part of the equation though is that this hold on this fourth ring actually invites this other guild to potentially cut off yellow completely, where by the time yellow overcomes that hold, there's a possibility that green has already taken it. So yellow's not able to chase down our path, right? This is where those center ring tiles come in. As yellow is moving around the map, we start closing these tiles that we've been holding, and these are now 3 hours ahead. So as yellow closes this is still 3 hours away from opening, because we waited so long to close them at the opening. So worst case scenario, even if yellow is able to chase down the original path that we took, we've now created this barricade. This is our original barricade, right? But now we've created a barricade that's a couple tiles deeper, right? And everything over here they already own, right? They took all that in the beginning. So now we're gonna extend that concept and start setting up 4 and 5 ring timers. So from here, you take the same pattern where we followed the 3 ring and set up timers in 2 ring, but after we've blocked yellow on this cycle, right? Our HQ is right here. They can't make it all the way around the clock without hitting our HQ. Now that we've blocked them from that, we're gonna start dropping down into 5th ring. Load and hold. Yeah. Wait, I don't know, 30 minutes. Depends on how aggressive this team is. If we need to race it, just race it and take it. But if this team is lazy loading like green down here, hold it. Wait 30 minutes. And then take it. And then take this. Right? Take just a quarantine yellow team in this scenario, but we're assuming that yellow is the top dog, so this would be a weaker guild, right, hypothetically, in this scenario, in terms of the movement, you know. Take quarantine, load and hold, but continue moving on 5th ring, and then set up timers, load and hold in 3rd ring as well as 2nd ring. So yellow is probably not going to get past all these pinch points. They're going to have to start from scratch, from headquarters. And remember, these tiles we closed, so there's 1 hour advantage on those, to where by the time yellow closes this, we'll have 30 minutes to recapture it each time. Does that make sense? This is the Oso sweep. So the goal here, on the big map, we're just going to draw X1 in here, and we'll make it red. On the big map, it actually works even better. It works really well on the small map, but the big map has more connection points per tile. So on the big map, same thing. Even if you are faster than the other teams, don't hit X1 right away at opening. And as a general rule, just don't really take X1 at all unless you have so much control that you can hold on to it for several rounds. So get up to X1, so you're into A2, B2, whatever, and then wrap around it and cut off whatever team is going for X1. It's actually the same number of moves to stop before X1 and then get 2 tiles around it. It's actually the same number of moves if you look at the big map. So if you are faster than this other team, by the time they take X1, you're actually 3/4 of a revolution behind them while they're trying to take X1. And as soon as they start trying to race down to catch your momentum, you just match them equally like that. So they hit X1 and they're like, oh shit, they're gonna cut us off. We need to race down, get behind them. So as soon as they start shifting south, you just match them and cut them off. Makes sense? But at this point, look at the amount of real estate that white owns versus what red controls. You know what I mean? Assuming this is red in that scenario. Does that make sense so far? That's a race call and the goons. I don't really give a fuck about goons. We're getting our asses kicked and it's our own fault. So I probably should help them. I don't want to though. What's next? All right. The big problem with taking X1 hastily. Let's pretend this is the big map. We've got X1. On the big map, we've also got here. Let's clear all that. On the big map, we've got 2 extra second ring tiles. So there's 6 second ring instead of 4. Right? The big problem, let's say yellow takes X1 immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Boom. Yellow gets X1. Even if we're fast enough to race and win X1, don't. There's 1, 2, 3 for us. 4, 5. So it's the same number of moves. This would be 5 for yellow, 5 for us. So we're a little catty corner off of X1. But assuming we're fast enough to race them and take X1, like if we just blow them out of the water taking X1, they wouldn't be to X1 yet. They would still be working on number 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. They would still be working on this by the time that we're done closing this. Remember, these guys are the number 2 team. They're not as fast as us, right? So from there, instead of going straight to X1, we've already closed this. We know they're not done with this yet, so we could race them and win on X1. Let them have it. And we'll get that at least. They'll possibly be working on X1 by the time we get that. And then the race might be down here, where as soon as they take X1, they're like, oh shit, we need to get behind these guys. And that's where we would pinch them off. The disadvantage with taking X1 at opening is that, yes, it gives you access to every other sector, but it can also be attacked by every other sector, and that's what people get so fucking impatient with. They just want the VP and they don't think about the consequences. If you're going up against a team that's faster than you, you're not going to be able to take that before you get your support cut. Does that make sense? So here's X1, right? And that's their only location in the center. We have 3 locations around it in that scenario. Okay. And they all open at the same time. This is opening day, so everyone's going balls to the wall. These are all within seconds of each other. Red needs to get off of X1 somewhere. This is the one that opens first by a second, right? But they're not going to get us out of the center. We're going to take the center either way, regardless. And if we can race them fast enough, we can actually cut off their support so that they don't even get the A2 sector. Does that make sense? Either way, they're going to lose X1. We have 3 tiles supporting that. So there's no way they can hold on to it. And from there, once we take X1, we just siphon back down the same way that they came up, just siphon right back down it. And let's say they managed to take this, okay? That's where we would set up holds. So yeah, they took X1, we just did the straight path, they got X1, they're gonna siphon back down us as well, but we've created holds over here so that as they start moving back down towards our headquarters, then we close these and it keeps them out of this section of the map for another 4 hours. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, we're siphoning back down to their headquarters the same way they did to us, and then setting up loads and holds throughout the map. Does that make sense? This is also sweep. It's a lot more fluid and intuitive once you actually see it. So hopefully you guys will actually give me the chance to do that. So I'll talk to you later, brother. Bye.